So next is Super 8, which of course came out last week, and that is a new film from J.J. Abrams, writer-director J.J. Abrams. And this film, as you can see from the one sheet, and look at the nebula, the galactic star field that Corey put it on. Look at that.
That's a Windows wallpaper.
That's not a Windows wallpaper. Look at that.
Wow, a lot of work done in that.
On this show, we spare every expense, as it turns out. Super 8, if you don't already know, is J.J. Abrams' homage to the Spielbergian fantasies of the early 80s, including E.T., and one of my all-time favorite films, Close Encounters. And the movie is about a group of kids who want to make a Super 8 film, and in the process of that, they wind up witnessing Zapruder-like a train crash that winds up unearthing this crazy monster that I will not talk about, because if you haven't seen it, I want you to go see it. Let's take a look at a clip. We'll tell you what we thought.
How am I supposed to be a zombie?
Oh, pretty much just be a lifeless ghoul with no soul, dead eyes, scary. Did you ever have Miss Mullen?
For English?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like her, but hungry for human flesh. Like she wants to turn somebody into a zombie. Because that's kind of what zombies do.
Okay.
Oh my god, yeah, that's really good. Not bad.
Really?
Really.
What is this? Look at this. What are you drinking?
How come?
This is the thing that your mom called sustenance.
What?
Wow.
What the?
She called it God's water, not sustenance. Please, get it right. What? No, pick that up. Pick that up.
Yeah?
Well, show it to, what are you
Am I
drinking?
taking orders from you?
Yes.
It's a Negro Modelo, and it's wonderful.
She's getting drunk on the show. Everyone, give her a hand.
You're
She's getting
bleeding.
drunk on the
This is
show.
the second co-host in a row who drinks when they get near you. What's going on?
I think there's a pattern.
Wade was a
I believe I'm very nice as a co-host. I make them feel welcome. I say, just follow me. I'll tell you where to go. You're doing a great job. I feel I'm very good.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, you're lovely, and you match the wall.
By the way, that light tower almost fell on me 4 weeks ago.
Check it out on YouTube.
Check it out on YouTube as the light tower almost fell on me and LAFCA President Brent Simon. Let's hope that doesn't happen this week. Anyway, regarding...
It's tethered now. It's all...
Look, it's actually tethered to the wall, which means that this week when it falls, it'll take the wall with it.
Yeah.
Which is just
all good.
fantastic. Okay, so when it comes to Super 8, JJ has taken a laundry list of 80s emotional, cultural, cinematic touchstones, and he sort of kind of deftly created his own work, which kind of winds up being the best thing and the worst thing about it. My issue with Super 8, which I think is a good film, and I think JJ is a good filmmaker, is that, you know, the movie can read the notes, but it can't make the music. It's like when you have all these disparate influences, and you wind up putting it into a work that is sort of your own, can you really make it sing, right? Can you really make it into its own original work as opposed to being something that just takes all these other influences really well and puts it into one film?
Right.
And I don't know that JJ can do that. I think JJ did a better job, and I didn't dislike Super 8, which, by the way, I forgot the rating I gave it. Someone tell me? I think that JJ did a good job putting the film together. It's very well done. He used a lot of collaborators that he used before, like the composer, Michael Giacchino, is very good. Good score. The kid cast, they're all very good. And the main kid even reminds you of Elliot from E.T. But ultimately, I think that the film is so wedded to a time and a place that I don't know that it really was daring or original enough to be its own thing. You know, when I think of, and then we'll get your thoughts on it, but when I think of filmmakers who are very driven by their influences, I think of someone like Tarantino, where Tarantino obviously is almost a slave to his influences, but somehow he makes films that take those influences and and makes a great film out of all of it. I love all of his films. Even Inglourious Bastards, which Sam Levine was in. Inglourious Bastards, Sam Levine was in that. Wow.
I
And
think you watched it right.
huh?
Never mind.
He was in the trailer.
He was in the trailer. Glorious Bastards.
That's correct.
So what I'm saying is that Tarantino is a guy who's very wedded to his influences, but yet he takes those and he makes very singular, great films. Whereas J.J., I feel, is also wedded to those influences when it comes to Star Trek, Mission Impossible, and he makes films that are slick and fun and entertaining and basically fine, but I don't know that they're really going to last. I don't know that they really emotionally hit you the way the Spielberg films that he loved hit you.
Well, I mean, here's the big difference, I would say, between like him and Tarantino, which is that Tarantino cobbles together things he loves, but then subverts them. Whereas J.J. Abrams is doing an homage to a man whose work he loves, Steven Spielberg, with Steven Spielberg on as producer. So he's basically just trying to mimic his idol, and I don't feel like he has the freedom, or even would want the freedom, to take a step back and really look at what that genre of films is all about. You know, I mean, my opinion on Super 8 is that if any other director besides J.J. Abrams had made this, and if they had done it with anything else but this like blanket pattern of like hype and secrecy, I'd come out of Super 8 being like, oh, that was a totally fine little film. You know, like if Adam Sandler had directed Super 8, I would have been like, nice work, Adam Sandler, you're going to be a fine director someday. But J.J. Abrams comes out, and it's this like juggernaut, and there's all this hype about it, and I walk out feeling a little bit underwhelmed. The parts never add up to the whole. I mean, I'm sure you know the story about how the script even came together.
You know, I have to say, I have to name drop my J.J. Abrams story, which I've said before. I went to junior high school with J.J.
You went to junior high school with J.J.?
I did.
What's his yearbook photo like?
Big, poofy Jew hair.
That's the first time anybody's asked that question, because you've told us about it 5 times.
I know.
And nobody's asked a great question.
Exactly. You know what? I actually, that's a really good point about how Tarantino takes his influences and subverts them, whereas J.J. just sort of has somehow synthesized it and turned it into the same thing.
He's a mimic.
Just done by him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a really good point. You know, I liked Star Trek more because what he did with Star Trek is he walked a really fine line with that film too, which is that he took Star Trek and he made it something that the older crowd, the old Star Trek fans like myself, would actually like, but the younger fans could think like it's their Star Trek.
Yeah.
They can own it as their own, whereas I can like it for what it is too. You know, here, I don't know that he did that. And to speak to your point, I think that the marketing of this film was a little risky because they don't tell you what it's about really. They don't show you the monsters, so it creates this mystery that the movie may not really live up to. And I think part of the reason they did that was because they worked with Cloverfield and whatever, but also if they had gone out and said, here's a movie that's a throwback to 80s films, then anybody born after 1985 is not going to be interested.
Exactly. I mean, and I find the weird thing about Super 8 and about Cloverfield is that just based on the secrecy of the trailers, if you had to guess what the movie was about and like write it down on a piece of paper, after you saw it, you'd read it and you'd be exactly right. Like there's all this mystery, but you can actually predict everything that the movie is. You know, you don't know what the monster looks like in Super 8, but you know exactly that it's a film about a group of kids and that it has this homage to Super 8 film and filmmaking and retro culture. The only thing that you're lacking is an actual look at the monster. And the monster is really ridiculous. So you walk out feeling like the big surprise that you've been promised was nothing. I think he's really undercutting himself with this whole hype machine.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So the monster from Super 8 was fine. But the gigantic lint monster from Green Lantern, who looks like like dryer lint with a face, you like that? That was great.
No, I don't like the Super 8 monster. I think the Super 8 monster was just all knobs and scales, and you couldn't figure out what was coming out of where.
I actually agree. I really do. Actually, that monster was not worth it. What is that? Huh?
Our British viewers might need a clarification.
Well, they can get at the source.
I didn't say that. He said that. Don't look at me. I have nothing to do with the show.
Aren't you British? I thought you were British.
Oh yes, I am.
I thought you were
Dan.
British and lost
yes,
your accent.
I am. What actually? It's funny when you look at the film. What I did like about it is that it reminds you, if you're of a certain vintage, it reminds you that back in the day, making a little movie when you're 15 years old was really hard.
Yeah.
Like everything you did was really special because you had to steal away at night and wait 3 days for the film to get developed, and you had to splice it yourself, and the sound was terrible, and the edits were horrible. You know, it's like it really became this thing that was like really important to you. Now you pick up your flip phone and in 5 seconds, some cat playing pianos on YouTube.
I have to say this because he's freaking out. Now, did you just spoil the movie for Rami, who's in Egypt, our viewer in Egypt? Now he's all mad in the chat room saying you spoiled the movie.
What do we say?
You talked
There's
about...
a monster.
You talked about the monster.
And he's
Was that
ugly.
not known?
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat room's telling him it was known. He's swearing to God nobody knew that.
Was it like Richard Simmons? Is that the thing?
You have completely ruined
There's a
his
train
movie.
crash and Richard Simmons comes out.
You have completely.
everybody dies. Be sure to let him know.
Okay.
Oh, look at that! You gave it away.
So therefore, I'm just
He's fighting
saying.
for democracy over there.
Yeah, and you
Why
guys.
are you seeing movies? Why are you seeing stupid movies?
You guys, he's fighting for democracy, and you guys giving away spoilers. That's all we're saying.
Jesus Christ.
Just watch out for like the really awesome unicorn knife fight. It's amazing.
Unicorn knife.
It's beautiful.
Don't give that away. I love that unicorn knife.
All right. Anyway.
All right. So Super 8. Now, I personally cannot remember what grade I gave it. But what grade do you give it? Buy, rent, or burn? I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't.
Well, who's got the
It
breakdown?
might have been a rent.
I'm going to guess Rent.
Oh, we both.
Rent. Oh my God. Well, now we see how legit this is.
Exactly.
We're rent. It's
Oh,
rent.
we're both renting. We're both renting Super 8.
Yes.
Which means you would wait till it comes out of theaters, see it at home.
And pretend it was directed by anybody else. Dennis Dugan, who does all the Adam Sandler films, would be a
Dennis
great
Dugan. Dennis Dugan is the worst comedy director on the planet. There is nobody worse than Dennis Dugan. If you're watching right now, Dennis Dugan, you are the worst comedy director on the planet.
Throw something.
And the funny thing with Dennis Dugan is that every movie he makes $300 million because it stars Adam Sandler.
And he's a really nice guy. I interviewed him once, and he's very sweet.
If he was really,
It
really
broke my
nice, he would
heart.
take my advice and go away. What?